Long before the discovery of antibiotics, Native Americans had their own special ways to fight sickness. They used plants, tree bark, and even mud to heal wounds and make fevers go away. Some of their medicine came from secret recipes passed down for many years. Can you believe they even knew how to stop infections without pills? It's almost like the magic from Harry Potter's wand. Let's jump into their world and see how they did it. Herbal medicine. Long before modern doctors and antibiotics, Native Americans knew something amazing. Plants could heal. They used special herbs to fight infections, and their knowledge was so powerful that even scientists today study their methods. Let's look at some of the plants they used. The first plant here is the echinacea. This plant was one of their favorites. It has bright purple petals and looks like a daisy. But don't be fooled by its pretty face. This plant is a warrior. Native Americans would crush its roots and leaves to make a paste. If someone had a bad cut or a swollen wound, they would put this paste on the skin to stop the infection. They also made echinacea tea for sick people. It helped their bodies fight off fevers and colds. Next is the golden seal. This plant is small and has yellow roots, but don't be fooled by its size. This is liquid gold when it comes to healing. Native Americans discovered that rubbing its crushed roots on wounds helped them heal faster. It also killed germs before they could spread. Some tribes even used it as a mouthwash to clean their teeth and stop infections in their gums and teeth. Imagine having a powerful germ fighter like this growing right in your backyard. Now, let's talk about yarrow. This plant was like a superhero for warriors. If a hunter or warrior got a deep cut, they chewed yarrow leaves and pressed them onto the wound. It worked like magic to stop bleeding. Not only that, yarrow also helped fight off infections. Today, some people still use yarrow for small cuts and bruises. You might wonder, how did Native Americans figure all this out? They didn't have science books or doctors telling them what to do. Instead, they learned by watching animals. If a wounded animal rubbed against a certain plant, the tribe would take notice. Over time, they tested different plants and passed their knowledge down from grandparents to grandchildren. Even though we have doctors and medicine today, many of the plants Native Americans used are still being studied. Scientists have found that echinacea, golden seal, and yarrow really do help fight infections. It's incredible that people hundreds of years ago knew secrets about healing that we are still learning today. So next time you see a wildflower or a plant growing outside, it might just be nature's medicine waiting to be discovered. Let's see what they used to cover open wounds. Pine resin. Imagine you're walking through a forest and you scrape your arm on a sharp branch. And there's no doctor, no medicine, and no bandages, just trees, plants, and dirt. What do? Native Americans had another perfect solution: pine resin. This thick, sticky substance that oozes from pine trees was their secret weapon against infections. It worked so well that even today, some people still use it for healing. But how did they figure this out? Let's take a deeper look into this tree's natural bandage. Have you ever seen a tree with a cut in its bark? Sometimes golden, sticky sap drips out of the wound. That's resin, the tree's way of healing itself. It seals up the cut, keeps out bugs, and stops germs from getting inside. These tribesmen noticed this and thought, if it works for the tree, maybe it can work for us too. Here's how they used it. When someone gets a deep cut or wound, they collect fresh pine resin from a tree and spread it over the injury. The resin acted like a natural bandage, sealing the cut so dirt and bacteria couldn't get inside. It also helped stop bleeding and kept the wound from drying out quickly. Some tribes even boiled the resin to make it softer and easier to spread. Pine resin wasn't just a bandage, but a germ fighter too. It has natural antibacterial properties, which means it kills the tiny germs that cause infections. Native Americans also mixed the resin with herbs to make it even stronger. If someone had a bad wound, they might heat up the resin and add healing plants like yarrow or sage to make a powerful medicine. Believe it or not, pine resin wasn't just for cuts and scrapes. Some tribes chewed small pieces, like gum, to help with sore throats and coughs. Others burned it like incense to purify the air and keep away sickness. It even helped waterproof shoes and canoes. You see that sticky sap dripping down the tree's bark? It's not just tree glue, it's nature's own medicine. Imagine using it on a tiny cut instead of reaching for a bandage or calling 911. Would you try it? Let us know in the comments if you would. Or if you've ever used something straight from nature to heal. Next, let's dive into the amazing painkillers they used. Willow bark. This was one of the most powerful natural medicines used by Native Americans. It worked like a painkiller and helped fight infections, just like modern aspirin. They noticed that when animals were sick or injured, they sometimes chewed on willow tree branches. This made them wonder, was the tree helping them heal? They decided to try it for themselves. When they chewed the bark, they felt their pain go away. Over time, they learned how to turn it into medicine for fevers, infections, and even wounds. If someone had a headache, toothache, or fever, they would chew on a small piece of willow bark. The natural medicine inside would enter their body and help reduce pain and swelling. They also boiled strips of the bark in water to create a tea that worked like a natural aspirin. This was used for colds, fevers, and even stomach aches. Crushed willow bark was sometimes placed on cuts and injuries to help stop swelling and prevent infections. It worked as an anti-inflammatory, meaning it helped the body heal faster. These natives didn't know why the bark worked so well, but today scientists know why willow bark worked so well. It contains a chemical called salicin, which is very similar to the main ingredient in aspirin. That means Native Americans were using a natural form of aspirin long before modern medicine was invented. Also, willow bark wasn't just for pain and infections. Some tribes believed it had spiritual powers too. They used it in ceremonies to bring peace and healing. Others wove willow branches into baskets or made fishing tools. It was a tree that gave life in many ways. Ever wonder why you have a water heater in your bathroom and why a hot bath feels like a soothing massage? Well, the Native Americans figured this out long before modern plumbing. Hot springs and steam baths. Native Americans knew that heat could help the body heal. They used hot springs and steam baths to cleanse wounds, fight infections, and even cure sickness. But how did they know this? You see, some places in the world have magical pools of steaming water bubbling up from the earth. These are called hot springs, and they are naturally heated by the earth's energy. Native Americans believed these waters were special. They noticed that when people bathed in them, their wounds healed faster, and they felt stronger. This is because hot springs were full of minerals like sulfur, which helped kill germs. If someone had an infection, soaking in a hot spring could help fight off bacteria. Some tribes even called these springs healing waters and treated them as sacred places. But what if there were no hot springs? If there was no hot spring nearby, Native Americans created their own steam baths, also known as sweat lodges. These were small dome-shaped huts made from wood and covered in animal skins. Inside, they placed hot stones in the center and poured water over them to create thick, steamy air. Sitting in a steam bath made people sweat a lot, which helped remove toxins from their bodies. If someone had a fever, the heat helped their body fight the sickness. If they had a cold, the steam cleared their stuffy nose and helped them breathe better. And if they had sore muscles or wounds, the heat helped reduce swelling and pain. For many tribes, hot springs and steam baths were not just for healing the body. They were also used for spiritual cleansing. Before battles or important events, warriors and leaders would sit in a steam bath to purify their minds and bodies. It was a way to feel refreshed, both inside and out. Here is what science has to say about this healing power. They figured out hot water can kill some bacteria, steam can clear up infections, and sweating removes harmful toxins. That's why people still visit hot springs and use steam rooms in gyms and spas. For all the honey lovers out there, Did you know that honey never goes bad? That jar sitting in your kitchen could last forever. But here's the real question. Do you have any idea just how powerful it is? Honey isn't just sweet. It's been used for healing wounds, soothing sore throats, and even fighting infections for thousands of years. Next, let's explore the amazing healing power of honey. Honey. Long before modern medicine, Native Americans discovered that honey had powerful healing abilities. They weren't just delicious. They could stop infections, speed up healing, and protect wounds. Have you ever noticed that honey never goes bad? That's because it fights bacteria. Native Americans used wild honey to heal cuts, burns, and even sore throats. When they spread honey on a wound, it did 3 amazing things. It killed germs, it kept the wound moist. Unlike dry bandages, honey helps skin heal without cracking. And also, it acts like a shield. If someone had a bad cough or sore throat, they would eat honey or mix it with warm water. This helped soothe pain and stop infections from getting worse. Even today, hospitals sometimes use medical honey to treat burns and wounds, just like Native Americans did hundreds of years ago. Moving on, let's talk about a hidden healing power found in animals. Believe it or not, some animals have natural medicines inside them. Bone broth. For Native Americans, food was more than just nourishment. It was medicine. They turned to nature to heal wounds, fight sickness, and keep their bodies strong. Native Americans wasted nothing. After eating the meat of an animal, they boiled the bones for hours, sometimes even days, creating a rich, mineral-packed broth. This wasn't just a warm meal. It was a powerful healing drink. Bone broth boosted immunity. The nutrients in bone broth helped fight off infections and speed up recovery. Also, the gelatin and collagen in the broth strengthened bones and helped with joint pain and injuries. Not only that, bone broth was easy to digest and helped people recover from illnesses and digestive problems. Warriors drank it after battles. The elderly sipped it for strength, and mothers gave it to their children to keep them healthy during long winters. Next on our list is something truly fascinating: healing with smoke. Native Americans didn't just use plants and herbs for medicine. They also burned them to create healing smoke. They believed the smoke could cleanse the body, drive out sickness, and even calm the mind. But how did it work? Let's find out. Smudging with sage or cedar. Smudging wasn't just about making a place smell nice. It was a powerful way to fight sickness, stop infections, and even protect people from bad energy. Have you ever seen smoke from a campfire rise into the air? It seems to carry things away, doesn't it? Native Americans believed smoke could do the same for bad germs and sickness. They burned special plants and let the smoke surround a person or a sick place, cleaning out whatever was making them ill. But how did it actually work? Modern scientists have found that some plants used in smudging kill bacteria and viruses in the air. That means Native Americans had discovered a natural way to stop infections, long before scientists knew about germs. Different tribes used different plants, but some of the most powerful ones were sage. This was one of the most popular smudging plants. Native Americans believed burning sage could clean the air, heal wounds, and help with breathing problems. Today, scientists have found that sage smoke kills harmful bacteria in the air. Next is cedar. Some tribes burned cedar to protect people from sickness. It was believed to help clear out bad energy from a sick person's home. Also, sweetgrass is a plant that has a sweet smell and was burned after sickness to bring good health and peace. Then we have juniper. It was used in steam baths. Juniper smoke helped people with fevers and coughs breathe better. What do you think they really worked? Well, scientists have tested smudging and found that burning sage can kill up to 94% of bacteria in the air. So, yes, it did. Let's move on to another surprising thing: soil as medicine. Native Americans knew that the earth wasn't just for growing food. It could also heal wounds, stop infections, and even soothe stomach problems. Sounds unbelievable, right? Let's dig deeper and see how they use the power of the earth to heal. Clay and mud poultices. A handful of mud or clay pressed onto your wound might just be all you need to heal. It might sound strange, but Native Americans discovered that mud and clay had powerful healing abilities. These simple, earthy substances could stop infections, pull out toxins, and help wounds heal faster. But why did they use mud? Have you ever played in wet mud and felt how cool and smooth it is? Native Americans noticed that when they put mud on burns, cuts, or insect bites, the pain went away and the wounds healed faster. Today, scientists have discovered that some types of mud and clay can kill bacteria that cause infections, pull out toxins and poisons from wounds, reduce swelling and pain, and keep a wound moist so it heals better. If someone got a bad cut or insect bite, they would mix clean clay with water, spread it over the wound, and let it dry. This helped stop infections and pulled out dirt. Also, if a person got burned, they would cover the burn with cool mud. This took away the pain and helped the skin heal without scarring. For snake and insect bites, yes, that terrible bite. Some tribes use special clay to pull out poison from snake bites or stings. They believed the earth could suck out the bad toxins, and science now shows they were right. Mud wasn't just used for healing, it also helped in other ways. Like as a sun protection, warriors and hunters would rub mud on their skin to keep from getting sunburned. Also, as a bug repellent. All they did was rub a layer of mud to keep mosquitoes and insects away. Today, doctors and scientists still use special healing clays, like bentonite clay, to treat infections, food poisoning, and even skin problems. So next time you see a muddy puddle, remember, it's not just dirt. It might just be nature's secret medicine waiting to heal. Moving on, we have charcoal and ash. Yes, the same black powder left behind after a fire wasn't just for cooking or staying warm. Native Americans discovered that charcoal could clean wounds, stop infections, and even remove poison from the body. How did they discover charcoal's power? Have you ever seen how fire burns wood, turning it into blackened charcoal? Native Americans noticed that when they put charcoal on wounds, the wounds healed faster. They also saw that animals sometimes ate burnt wood after being sick. This made them wonder, could charcoal help people too? Yes, and they found out it was a powerful tool for healing. If someone had a deep cut, they would crush charcoal into a fine powder and sprinkle it over the wound. It helped kill germs and stop infections before they got worse. But that wasn't all. If a person got bitten by a snake or stung by an insect, they mixed charcoal with water and spread it over the bite, letting it draw out the poison like a sponge. Even stomach problems had a solution. If someone ate bad food or drank dirty water, they would stir charcoal into water and drink it, allowing it to absorb the toxins and stop sickness in its tracks. Burns? Those could be treated too. Some tribes mixed charcoal with fat or plant oils to soothe the pain and prevent infection. But charcoal's uses went far beyond healing. It played a role in keeping water clean, just like modern filters do today. It absorbed bad smells, helping to preserve food for longer. And in some tribes, burning charcoal was part of spiritual ceremonies, where the rising smoke was believed to cleanse both the body and the spirit. For them, charcoal wasn't just ash from a fire, it was nature's own purifier, healer, and protector. You might look down and see something soft and green, covering rocks and trees. It looks small and simple, but don't be fooled. This is moss or lichen, and Native Americans knew just how powerful it could be. Moss and lichens. These tiny plants weren't just for covering rocks and trees. Native Americans discovered that moss and lichens could stop bleeding, prevent infections, and help wounds heal faster. Have you ever touched moss? It's soft, cool, and a little spongy, almost like nature's own bandage. Native Americans quickly discovered its hidden powers. When someone had a wound, they pressed moss onto it, letting it soak up blood like a natural sponge while keeping the area clean. But moss wasn't just for stopping bleeding. Some types had special antibacterial properties, which helped to kill germs and prevent infections before they could spread. And if someone was in pain, fresh moss provided a soothing, cooling effect by reducing swelling and discomfort. What seemed like just a simple green covering on rocks and trees was actually a powerful healer hidden in plain sight. Next is lichens. They may be tiny, but they are powerful. Lichens, those strange, crusty patches clinging to tree bark and rocks, might look unimportant, but Native Americans knew better. Some, like usnea, also called old man's beard, were crushed into a paste and placed on wounds. It acted like nature's own antibiotic to fight infections. Others were brewed into tea to help with coughs and lung infections, offering relief when sickness struck. When skin was burned or irritated, certain lichens were used to soothe swelling and itching, making them a natural remedy for rashes and burns. But healing wasn't their only purpose. Soft, absorbent moss was amazingly used as diapers for babies. Dried moss was stuffed into shoes and clothing for warmth, keeping people insulated against the cold. And when it was time to start a fire, some types of moss worked as perfect kindling because they catch flames easily. What seemed like just a patch of green on rocks and trees was actually a secret survival tool hidden in plain sight. Wow! Can you believe how smart Native Americans were? They healed cuts, fought fevers, and even stopped infections without modern medicine. Nature was their doctor, and their secrets still help us today. Want more fascinating history? We've got you covered. Smash that like button, drop a comment on your favorite ancient remedy, and we'll see you in the next one.